Now, my question is, there are a few attributes that we can all agree that a divine person should have, and you also did mention in your presentation about Matthew 24:36 about the day or the hour no one knows, not the angels in heaven or the Son, but only the Father. And I don't think you responded. You did mention that's a common argument that comes up with Muslim debaters. I still feel that it's quite a strong refuting the Trinity, and I do feel that it's it warrants an explanation.
As to the question why Jesus said something like that, I would appeal again to Philippians 2, for example. In Philippians 2, 5 through 11, we read that Christ humbled himself. He took upon himself a human nature. And so we believe as Christians not that Christ laid aside the divine attributes. He didn't. He retained the divine attributes, but he laid aside the privilege of the divine attributes in the sense that operationally he laid aside the utilization of some of the divine prerogatives, and including omniscience. So he didn't necessarily know everything at all times. And one case would be the date of the hour, which remains unknown according to Mark 13:32 and Matthew 24:36.
Jesus is talking as the Son, and he says, of that hour no man knows, not the Father, not the Son, nor the angels, or anybody else. There are certain things of Jesus' divine attributes that were veiled in the incarnation. For example, his glory was not seen. He didn't glow when he walked down the streets of Jerusalem. If they were walking in the dark, the disciples didn't get to not use a flashlight or something when Jesus was by because he glowed so much. But obviously omnipresence, things like that. There was a veiling, and for some purpose that is not explained to us, for some purpose, Jesus, in that particular instance, he has supernatural knowledge elsewhere, but in that particular instance, that particular piece of knowledge has been veiled during the time of the incarnation.
So if someone looks at the scriptures and says that Jesus said the Son did not have that knowledge of the second coming, would you assert that they're not a Christian because they think Jesus was speaking literally and that to be God, you don't have to have all knowledge?
Well, there's a false assumption there. You earlier said that God does not have omniscience because of what Jesus said. The Father knew and the Spirit knew, so God still knew even though there was a veiling for the Son for a specific purpose and a specific time. The Father knew and the Spirit knew. The Father knew and the Spirit knew. And the Spirit knew. Jesus is talking as the Son, and he says, of that hour no man knows, not the Father, not the Son, nor the angels, or anybody else, or anybody else.
There are certain texts that clearly refute that Jesus is God. In Mark chapter 13, Jesus denies that he and the Holy Ghost know the hour, as he says only the Father knows. So since God the Son and the Holy Ghost are ignorant of the hour, they can't be God, who's all-knowing.
And for Christians to prove the Trinity, they have to find a text which shows that there are three co-equal and co-eternal persons from all eternity. And that is entirely missing. The Trinity is like a three-legged stool. If all three legs are not there, then the stool falls. And the three legs requires there are three persons, they are co-equal, and they are co-eternal. You cannot have one born in a certain time. He has to exist from all eternity. And if one of them says, I don't know when the hour will occur, then he is not the omniscient God. God's knowledge is not like a book on the shelf. Either he decides to look in it or not look in it. Either he has the knowledge or he doesn't. If he doesn't have the knowledge of the hour and his Father knows the hour, then the Father is obviously the omniscient one and the Son is not omniscient. And therefore they're not co-equal, and therefore the Trinity fails. One of the legs of the stool is missing.